Hello guys and welcome to a new market update. Today we're gonna talk about Bitcoin, XRP and some others, but first off I would like to let you know that I recently started a 100x challenge on Twitter. So what this basically is, I'm starting out with like a small-ish account relatively, and then I'm trying to build it up to like 100x its starting stack. So let's say we start with $100, then in that case we try to build it up to 10k. I am updating this kind of in hindsight on Twitter with the help of Coin Market Manager, one of my partners. So using Coin Market Manager, I can get these pretty equity curves, which you can see here, and also get more details about my trades and my analytics and how I'm performing with my shorts, my longs, etc. So I'm choosing it to do it this way instead of doing it live. I know people really enjoy that stuff, but I don't like the fact that it's adding on a lot of stress because people are massively just copy trading you. And as well with that, people are likely to get like stopped out on wicks, or you're gonna see pumps or whatever right after the tweets, and people are gonna get in at the wrong time. So therefore, I'm doing it like this, just mainly as a way to learn from it myself and keep myself disciplined. And I think that can still be very educational for people, just not like it's not gonna give people the action or like the trades they want in advance. So don't see it as that, but just as a way to learn from. So moving on, Bitcoin. Well, you might have seen this before from my side. This is something I tweeted out somewhere right here when we still didn't make this recent run up. It wasn't like an prediction or anything, but I was saying, hey, if we were at some point trading below this range low at 29.5k, I would be cautious or like be aware of the fact that maybe if we do break down and we don't see proper continuation down, this would be in line with previous breakdowns on ranges this year. Because if we go back, this range wasn't as clean, but something like this here as well. We had the range low, we broke down below. This did go down quite a bit, but then you see it's just stalls. It retakes the range and just sends. And I think this region can be comparable as well. And of course, and this is sitting right here, of course, the big FTX breakdown, which I'd argue still was rather low or like rather small compared to the things that were going on. So if we were to break down off this range low and we stall here right below without like proper continuation down, I would assume we take back the range at some point and then just send it from there. But I mean, for now, we're near the middle of the range. This range has been incredibly hard to trade because there's no directional trade to be made, because every time after 5 to 10% move on alts maybe, you just get sent back up or back down, and people are round tripping their gains left and right. I mean, I've had it as well plenty of times. Luckily, by moving stop losses up, stuff like that, I have been protecting myself relatively well. But and the spot holdings have been doing okay. But yeah, to really try and swing long or swing short this for the past few weeks has been a pain for many people. So basically, my risk proxy or like measurement of sentiment within this range has been like 30.5k, which is the mid range and also the monthly open. So trading above there, I would assume we do clean this inefficiency up like we have been doing all this time, like very similar moves. We break down, we slowly grind up, make a new high, then we break down again. It's been happening forever, but if not, if we can't retake this, I would assume like the liquidity is pretty clear that it's still right here. I mean, we've taken the upside like a few times right now without taking the downside here. So what we have is all these wicks, which are still untapped. So I think a move down would make sense in terms of liquidity perspective. But I mean, we've seen this happen before. It just can do the Dalai Lama backup, as we call it, and then everyone will have been sidelined again, waiting for the break lower. But I mean, I can't really be confident about any direction here. I would still assume it's like semi-bearish as long as we're below 30.5k. But I mean, if we take back 30.5k, I think we do trade back to 31 and possibly higher again. But for now, we're also trading slightly above the CME close price, which is 30.2. So I think if we go somewhere around here, I would assume we might start testing some of these liquidity levels, which is my base case for now. Especially seeing all the things that got us up here, all the news and whatnot, and we're also closing in on like the ETF initial decision by the SEC, which is in like 2 or 3 weeks from now. And as you know, I am expecting a delay initially, which is the most probable outcome, I think, which would likely kill the momentum for a bit. But I mean, we're still ranging, can't really be confident on any direction here. So yeah, let's move on. Obviously, we have to talk about XRP. Well, they had some positive news regarding the case. I mean, they did win it for the most part, I think. Obviously, the SEC can still fight it or whatever, but I mean, what has happened, and this has been what the XRP holders and people accumulating in this region have been waiting for. So with that and the Coinbase relisting already happening, I would assume most of the short-term positive news would have played out, and I would assume, I'm not sure if you remember me posting about XRP being TWAP, so time-weighted average buying, or price buying here. It has been being bought up for like months, since April or so, and it was pretty clear. And obviously these guys, I think, would like to distribute somewhere up here. We did perfectly sweep this high as well, and I don't really see, unless there's like some new good news coming out, what would push this up again, except maybe some short squeezes. But I'm not seeing like absurdly high short amounts or anything. So this is also what I tweeted up here. Like, I was comparing it to the day they got sued, which was about well, it's about 2.5 or like 3.5 years ago already. Do I say that correct? No, 2.5 years. And price was at like 50 cents, while BTC was trading at like 23k. So obviously since then BTC is up about 50% or so, and from there on out, if you take like the 50 cents area, XRP would also be up like 50%. And if it would have moved together with BTC, it would have been about the same price as before they got sued. And when I posted this here, it was even higher. So I think that would be like a pretty fair value already. And I think that's would have meant that XRP performed much better than most alts, because most alts have just bled down against BTC during this time, except ETH, which is still up like 2x, I think, since the time. But I mean, most alts are down like 50 to 90% versus BTC. So the fact that XRP was already trading here, I think was pretty fair valued, if not pretty high. I'm definitely not out here to do fat the bags, but I'm just trying to temper down the expectations. Like, obviously, everyone's now calling for $1 and stuff, and sure, it can happen. Maybe people will start massively shorting this and we get another squeeze up, similar to Bitcoin Cash before. It's true that a lot has been accumulated during this phase before, so maybe they have cornered the market enough to drive this much higher. But I think unless the market itself, like the general market, moves up, where Bitcoin moves to like 40k, I think it's going to be hard for XRP to move much higher in the short term after a move like this. But keep an eye on it. It's definitely quite volatile and early to call tops or bottoms or whatever. As you can see, it just squeezed up like 5% or so again. This is gonna keep happening, even if it goes down. Like, it can easily do something like this, you know, where it just keeps bleeding and then you get like these massive squeezes in between. That's usually how it goes. So it's not gonna be an easy short or long, I think. It's probably wise to just scalp this stuff if you're trading it at all, or if you really have conviction, you just hold it with a bit of a wider stop and then ride it out. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. But the fact that they won is definitely a huge win for crypto as a whole. So it's really nice, and I'm happy for the holders that they finally got what they've been waiting for all the time. So moving on, Arbitrum. It's finally trying to break out of this range between roughly 105 and 128, 129 or so. It got the EIP 4844 narratives going with it, which is an ETH upgrade, which will help these things with their fees and stuff like that. I don't know the exact technicals. Anyways, that's a narrative going for Arbitrum and Optimism. I would still assume Arbitrum to be relatively strong compared to the rest of the market. And I think as long as it's trying, like it's attempting a breakout yet again, it's been rejecting a few times. But as long as it can keep holding this area, I would assume a move to 150 at some point. But of course, BTC has to hold up as well. I mean, if BTC breaks down of the range, I can't see this going up much more. So maybe it needs some more ranging, and then at some point it can go again. Then Comp, I'm only showing this one because it had a massive run. I mean, since the June bottom, it's up like, well, to the top, it's like 270%, which is crazy. But I wanted to show how this is now getting back to these late 2020 DeFi bottom. So it's now retesting this. This is a general area where I would assume we'd get some resistance. So be a bit cautious here. Obviously, if it were to retake this level, I mean, the sky's the limit. I think we could test stuff like this. And obviously, these are huge moves. But yeah, definitely this is going to be a sticky area. And so far, it's a bearish retest. It's a bit early to call because it's still trending up, of course. But if I were long, these were areas I would start looking at taking profit. Sadly, I didn't take this setup anywhere. It's been quite difficult to get in at some point, to be fair. Maybe this higher low, but besides that, it's basically been up only. And you can see the volume increase is pretty crazy. All right, then moving on. ETH BTC. Still a bit unsure here. It did move up on the XRP news, obviously. The trend is down. It's trading below its daily 200 MA and EMA. It's still in this massive falling wedge, which I would assume would break out at some point. But if you can see here on the lower time frames, it's looking okay. But I don't really like the fact that it swept this high and then rejected. So if we'd want to see a test of this falling wedge again, I would want to see ETH trade above this horizontal again, and then attempt another breakout at the falling wedge. Upon doing so, I would assume higher upside. But if this keeps bleeding down because either, I don't know, BTC pumps hard or does the opposite, which is usually also not ideal for alts, then I would assume a retest still of this range low, which is obviously what everyone is watching. So I am aware that this might get front run at some point, but for now, just waiting time on this. And this will also heavily influence how Bitcoin dominance looks. Obviously, we did reject at the 52% area. I did mention upon breaking the range high, like we were probably going to 52. Well, we've got a nice rejection for now. But I am still a bit skeptical on like allocating more BTC into alts unless we re-accept back into the range, which I think would be great for alts relative to BTC. I'd call this an alt season if this happens, but obviously we can still see Bitcoin dominance go down while Bitcoin goes down and USD values go down. This simply means altcoins would be outperforming Bitcoin and not like they're gonna go up 10x or whatever. So it really depends how you define like your alt season. But as long as we trade above this range, I could still see like a retest and then more up later. So this is really the confirmation I want to see to start allocating more BTC into alts. All right, I think that's about it. I hope this has given a decent idea of what I'm looking at, what I'm waiting for. Obviously, this range is the main thing. We've just been sweeping it left and right, and unless this really breaks out, I'm not expecting any trend to occur on like the lower to mid time frame. This is a scenario I would like to see. Like, it would be nice to play, I think. Like, we deviate down there, we stall, we retake the range, and then we can just focus on longs going to the highs again. Of course, we can just break down and then start grinding back down. And in that case, I would look at these SIP levels and also the daily 200 MA EMA, which I think if we start trending back down here, and excuse the mess on the chart, I would assume we might go to like 27.5 maybe, where also these would match up approximately at that time, I think. So yeah, those are the levels I would be watching. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was useful. Don't forget to check out the partners in the link below. There's some exclusive sign-up bonuses, deposit bonuses, and a free trial for Coin Marketman. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.